Welcome back to another episode of Between the Notes podcast. And today we've got a good one for you. We're going to talk about traveling, life on the road, living out of hotels, living out of suitcases, right? Sometimes it's a hotel, sometimes it's an Airbnb, sometimes an apartment. But with the one thing you have, each one of those places you go is a suitcase or two, or a carry-on, and a PlayStation, and some PlayStation controllers, and all kind of fun things. But the point is, it's not filling up your car or your truck worth of stuff and then driving down, a couple hours or however long to your gig. So talk to me about your must-haves, brother, about what's your process? You just got back. Welcome home. It's good to have
Yep,
you
thank
back
you.
home.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I
And
was just thinking
yeah,
about as you were saying that. I mean, I think it's also important that we talk about travel in general, not
sure.
just where we're going to stay, but maybe it is driving down the road when you choose to drive to a gig instead of fly if it's something that's local
Yeah.
or, drivable, let's say. Um, because that comes into play. And also the rental car whenever you get to where you're going, if that's
Mm-hmm.
part of the equation, or a
Sure.
train. Little planes, trains, and automobiles. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. It's my
Right.
favorite holiday movie.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, all of these things start getting into coming into play. I think, you know, if it's a long stay, and let's
Mm-hmm.
say anything over 5 weeks, I think you're better off trying to find an Airbnb than you are staying in a hotel. Would you agree
Oh
with
yeah.
that?
I mean, certainly from an economic standpoint, I think you are.
Well, sure. Now, sometimes it's the company that's paying for the hotel.
Right.
Sometimes, it might be
And
you,
they get
but
a certain rate, and they've
sure.
probably got 5 or 6 singers singing there. Yeah, but
Well, case in point, this last gig that I was on was a 5 week gig, and we stayed in a hotel the whole time. Now it was a Marriott Residence Inn, so we had a full kitchen and a
right,
little living room and a
right.
bedroom. So it made it feel much more doable. But at the end of the day, it's still a hotel, and I just always prefer the feeling of like your own space, your home. Kind of making it your own. I think.
I agree 100%. I mean, like, one of the wonderful things, obviously, about being as a hotel is that they will clean your room as often
Sure.
as you kind of want them to. And that's great. That's fine. I tend to be somebody who liked, especially when I was like between performances, I like to sleep late. And I don't want to have to plan my schedule or going to get something to eat around when somebody's going to clean or
Sure.
not clean my room.
Yeah. And
So
not
I,
clean the way you want it to be clean, or
yeah.
touch your stuff, or you know what I mean? It's all those
Well,
kinds of
exactly,
things.
exactly. I mean, I don't think I'm certainly not the world's neatest person, but neither am I the world's messiest person.
Sure,
But
sure,
I
sure.
definitely like, have my kind of routine of like through the week, especially my week is pretty heavy front loaded here at IU. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are pretty full days. And then Thursday, Friday are not so bad. And then Saturday and Sunday I'm off, unless I'm going to New York like I am this weekend.
There you go.
So talking about traveling and all that kind of stuff, I gotta do that. But the point being is that I will clean on Thursday or Friday when I've got the time and I can kind of do it leisurely, do some laundry, and then I'll like
Yeah,
sweep up and do the dishes and clean all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to do that every night before I go to bed. And that might
right.
drive people like my wife crazy, but I'm not going to do
That's amazing.
it.
Well, let's get into some of
Yeah.
the details. And I know you and I are a little bit what's the right word? Particular, and a little bit of a to me
Oh, yeah.
we like our luggage. Let's
We
just
like
say
our
that. We
luggage.
like our luggage.
Yes.
But I will say this, that I have always been of the opinion you spend money on something that's quality and you don't have to buy another one so quickly,
Oh,
right?
I agree 100%.
I mean, I know that having, it's like you got to figure out what's important to you. And,
Right.
as somebody who, when I go on a gig, I almost always am going to bring maybe not a full suit, but at least a sports jacket and
Yeah,
some nice
sure.
slacks or whatever.
Of
Or if
course.
it's a concert gig, I'm going to be wearing a suit or a tux or whatever.
Right.
I want part of that suitcase to be a suitor, right? Where you
Mm-hmm.
can you use a hanger, put it in there, you fold it halfway, and that's half the suitcase or whatever. I
Right.
love having that, and I love the fact that my Toomey carry-on has that, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then it's got the
absolutely.
extra zippers, and it's got little pockets for everything, and I just find when it's just like when you're trying to save money on a bag, it's not going to have half the things that like an actual real bag will have, you
Right.
know?
And I think that's one of the nice, great things about Toomey. I think you probably kind of sold me on Toomey because I remember when we were in New York, when you were still at Juilliard, and we went to the Toomey store and you bought like an awesome backpack. And I was like,
Right,
man,
right.
that's a lot of money to spend on a backpack.
I still
Which,
have that backpack,
well,
by the
that's
way.
the point, right? See, that's
Yeah,
the point. But
20 years
there's
later, it's
so
amazing.
many wonderful little individual pockets and zipper things to where you just. I remember when the girls were really young. I bought myself what I called my daddy bag. And
Yeah,
so it was like, kind of about the size of a laptop bag, maybe not quite that thick as a briefcase. But I just had all kind of stuff in there. Right? I had wipes, I
diapers.
had two diapers, I had like
Right.
those little those like gel kind of squeezy packs where
Oh,
you just
yeah.
take the top off and the kids can kind of like eat,
The food, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the apples or whatever's in there. Anyway, but it was great because I just could have everything in its little place, whereas my poor wife would put everything in a diaper bag and like she's, searching for the cream and searching for the this and searching for the that. And I was like, oh, I got it right here. Ding.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Everything's organized and in its place. I don't know.
Yeah. And I still
I've
have that bag and I still love that bag. Yeah.
There you go. I've also been somebody who always loves going into an Office Depot. So I don't know if those
Mm,
two things kind of align in any way, but
sure.
I don't know about you, but like I've known a lot of singers who are like, "Oh, I love going into a Staples or an Office Depot. I love looking at the notes and the Post-its and
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I do too. I have fond memories of my dad is an accountant and my mom is an accountant too. But when we were growing up, my dad was the only one working. My mom was kind of home taking care of us.
Yeah,
So anytime we would go to Office Depot or any of those kind of places, and like he'd always let us get like a little pen, like an under $10 pen, and then like little notes. And so he would sit at the computer, and back in 40 years ago, a lot of times the computer was the last thing. They'd be doing things by hand.
oh, sure.
And so he'd be having the ledger out and I would be, playing like I was doing
Right
the
now.
same thing.
That's great.
And it was super duper sweet. But no, I love this kind of stuff. And I think organization on the road is key.
Yeah,
To keep, I used to always have like a journal, like a notebook, one of those I can't remember the name of it. Mulehide, I think is what they're called. But anyway, it's just that like the kind of little journal that's.
something like a little
There you go. It's
there you go.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
beautiful, baby. So I'd have one of those and a nice pen that I would kind of use. I mean, not that super duper nice, but $50, something like that,
yeah,
that I would use for the whole season. And that would be, I'd write down, whatever it was if it was opus opera I was working on, or if it was I
sure.
was working on memorizing words. I mean, these journals, from that year, it's more of like a sketchbook and a notebook than it is a journal because I didn't sit
Sure,
there and be
sure.
like, dear diary,
Right.
you know. But I go back and look at them from time to time because we were just trying to get rid of some stuff, and that was
Yeah,
things that I didn't want to get rid of. And I was like, oh, look at this from 12 years ago. I can see I was trying to learn the words to Les Troyens at this time. You know what I mean?
right.
It's like
It's
it's
cool.
just really sweet. And then you turn two pages and it's like a grocery list or
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
wish list for the baby shower or something fun
right.
like that. So I think the more organized, getting back to the Office Depot and all this and to me, the
Well,
more
organized.
organized you can be, the easier it's going to be. And I used to really love to bring little things with me, like for instance, this Opus Opera. Hey, can you see it there? It's
Casino
a
chip.
poker
Yeah,
trip that was
yeah.
actually used as a drink coupon for our first thing.
The
And
wine
so
tasting.
the
That's right.
wine tasting, the wine and
The
opera
French wine
tasting.
tasting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so anyway, the point being is that I just like to bring little things from home. I have this little spinner, which I'm actually playing with right now,
there you go. And to
and
that
just keeps me
point,
calm.
when
Yeah.
you are on the road, if you are in America, I highly advise. I learned this from Eduardo Chama,
Mm,
one of the first away gigs. He was like, we were sharing a rental car, and he was like, "Come on, let's go to Dollar Tree," and he
mm,
was like, look at this cup, get this cup. You like this cup? I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, take it to the hotel. Look at this candle. Do you like the way this smells? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, buy just a couple of little. I mean, we're talking $1.25,
yeah,
right, or a
right,
dollar, whatever it
exactly.
is. Put some stuff in your hotel room so it's different than like the Marriott brand of whatever it is, or
Sure.
the Hilton or whatever, wherever you're
Mm.
staying. But if you can add a little touch of home, I think that's always a great thing. But as far as the organizational stuff, nowadays when we've got these smartphones, right? Like if I've got an iPhone, so I've got my wallet that's got like my plane ticket, it's got
Mhm.
it's got my credit card, it's got the parking spot pass thing where I'm going to park my car before I go. If I,
Right.
so tomorrow Christina and I are going on a vacation, and so I've got like 5 or 6 things that are in the wallet. So the more things that you can sort of like condense in your life, where it's like, oh yeah, I got it right here. It's always going to be easier, more efficient. And that I think goes across the board with like what we're talking about, luggage, finding the right kind of like what is it called when like the rituals, right? Like when
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
a new space, what do you like to do? How do you make it your own? And I think, everybody's going to have a different, you know idea about this, but I think it's important to start thinking about it like, oh yeah, how do I make a hotel room that I'm going to stay in for 3 weeks or 6 days or 5 weeks or whatever? How do you make that your own?
Yeah, it's like an extension of your audition ritual, right? So
Yeah.
you've gotten the job, and now you need to go and make sure that you. I mean, all this is to the end of being as calm and like ready to sing your best as possible,
Yeah.
right? Not to check the OCD boxes, but just to be like, you know what? I don't have to worry about that because it's all taken care of.
And what
And
are the things that you need to bring from home that
right,
that may not, like not every hotel's got the hair dryer that you might like, so maybe you need to
sure.
bring your hair dryer. Or maybe, I mean, I don't know,
I
if
mean,
you've
we
got a
can't forget all
special
the ladies out there. Is that the point is that they're not bringing a suitor. They've got
gowns.
gowns and all this other
If
kind of
anybody
stuff.
saw Nadine Sierra's recent post, she was talking about going on a trip. I think she was doing a concert tour in Mexico. She was
Uh
showing all these gowns. She's like, here's a gown, here's another gown, she was bringing like 7 gowns with her on this trip. I was like, I don't think about that, but I guess you're absolutely right that
Right.
depending on how many gowns you have to bring, you've got to make sure that you've got the luggage to support it.
Right. Absolutely.
So and shoes for that matter, and
Oh
finding
my
the
God.
right kind, it really is sort of like its own whole thing. It's like, okay, fine. You've learned how to sing really well. Now, what do you wear and how do you wear it and what colors look best on you? And how do you, finding the anti-wrinkle stuff, that as opposed to, it's like, how do you make sure you look your best as well as sound your
Right.
best?
Right. 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 Right.
It's tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay, so you've made your place into your kind of home, and I just want to say, like, I love it because after being on the road for so long, for so many years, living in all these different places, I've got an apartment here that's just for me in Bloomington, while everybody else is back in New Orleans, and it's
Right.
so nice. I wouldn't even say it's fancy, but it just feels nice to have like picked out furniture and stuff to put on the walls, and the cups, and the actually some of the cutlery is from what we used to have at the house, and so I've
Yeah.
got so many things from home in that apartment to make me feel surrounded by my family and my
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
okay, so you've done that. Now, the next kind of thing, what are we going to talk about here? Maybe like, scouting out the routes to rehearsal or to the theater or to what do you
Well,
think?
let's stick with travel for just a hair longer
Yeah.
because I think that it's important, you know, when people are maybe first getting started, think about if you're not already enrolled in frequent flyer programs for all the major airlines, I highly recommend that you do that
Oh, yeah.
because you're going to be flying all the time. And so and you're not going to always be flying on one airline. And so go ahead and enroll in Delta and United, American,
Hmm.
Southwest, even like make sure you get
Yeah.
all of those frequent flyer programs because you don't want to accidentally miss a leg um, that's not going towards benefiting you in some way.
Sure.
Also, to that end, I highly encourage finding a credit card that is obviously point based award type of thing
Hmm.
so that as you purchase not only travel, but when you purchase items, it's going towards getting benefits. And it's also an easy way at the end of the year to print out your annual summary so that when you're doing your taxes, you can say like, oh yeah, this, I spent this. And if
Yeah.
you only, whether you want to do like one card only for business or one card for everything, or however
Right.
you want to do it is up to you. But I just think being smart about it and making sure that you're always working the system instead of having the system work you. You know what I mean?
Sure. 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 Sure.
Is there anything else I'm forgetting along those lines?
Yeah. I mean, I think,
Rental car too, like having, not frequent
sure.
flyer, but whatever it's called for for rental car. Oh, and like
Yeah.
Marriott Bonvoy all
Right.
of those,
All
what are
these
they
like
called? Like frequent traveler membership things with all the different
yeah, essentially I think
labels,
membership, yeah, the membership, like just joining the membership, things that are going to help, you kind of get some cash back, whether it's free nights in the hotel
Yeah,
or free check bag or higher up in the queue so that you don't have to always check your we're worried about this tomorrow going to New York. I'm hoping my flight to LaGuardia is actually going to go and that it's going to
right,
get there. I'm hoping that I don't have to, side check my Toomey because it's getting beat
right,
up more and more and more as I have to do that.
right.
But anyway, yeah. So that's the kind of stuff. So
But I
yeah,
do think just staying on top of that kind of stuff, and therefore, when you have an agent or the presenter booking travel for you, make sure that you pass along all those frequent flyer numbers. I mean, that seems obvious, but I think
super easy to forget.
it's super easy to forget if you're just like, oh yeah. And let's talk also about TSA PreCheck or global entry. I mean,
Yeah.
if you start flying any international flights, global entry is worth its weight in gold.
Oh my
And for a
gosh.
lot of
Yeah.
these credit cards, they cover that for you
Sure.
as part of your annual fee that you pay to the card. They will
Yeah.
reimburse you for the $100 or whatever it is for global entry.
Yeah.
And I tell you, when I was flying back from London, um, you have the global entry app, and there was like a line, and it was just like, here you go. And they're like, right this way. I mean, and I looked at all the suckers that were standing in a line that's
Right.
going to be like, 3 hours or whatever. It is so worth it. It's amazing. And that
Yeah, no,
global
I
entry
remember that.
counts
Yeah.
as the TSA pre-check. So
Right.
it's well worth doing that if and when you can make an appointment and actually be seen. And, that's a whole other story. But I highly recommend doing all those different things to prepare for the easiest and smoothest of adventures, right?
Sure. Sure, sure. Absolutely. All right. So what do you say? What else are we going to get into here? We're about
Yeah, I mean,
18
you started
minutes.
talking about, yeah, you started talking about once you get to the location, you're setting up your spot and you feel all comfortable. I do think it's important to like plan out your route, like figure out where you are. I mean, and
Yeah,
I think you can talk a little bit about when you would go to a new country, if
sure.
you didn't speak the language. I mean, what was your sort of ritual or plan or whatever you had when you
Yeah.
arrive and
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I'd get there and I would, put all my stuff in the place. And then the first thing I'd always do is walk to the theater, right? Walk to the stage door. And that was, one, so I could see how long it took. I mean, okay, fine. The GPS would tell me this should take 12 minutes, but, let's just see.
is it
Uh,
uphill both ways? Maybe it
well,
takes 20.
precisely. Right. But I was always like, trying to find a Starbucks on the way because that was part of my ritual. Right.
Yeah,
And I loved it because I could get the drink, venti iced Americano with almond milk. I got in every country I ever worked in.
there you
Prague,
go.
the Czech Republic and France and Germany and UK and everything. The drink was always the same, but the food was always different, which was great because,
Yeah.
man, one of the best ones I ever had was in Germany. They would have these pretzels with like essentially like a garlic goat cheese something or another
At
that
a
was like
Starbucks, or are you talking about just at a
yes,
restaurant? Oh
yes,
my
no, at the
God.
Starbucks. And it was amazing. And so I would get that. That would be my breakfast on the way.
Oh, there you go.
And then in the UK, it was always some kind of like toasty,
Hmm.
all day breakfast toasty or something like that. In France, it was like a pain au chocolat or something like that. But
Hmm.
anyway, the point is, I'd figure out how to get to the theater. I'd figure out, can
Where
I
the
stop and
Starbucks
get
is.
can I stop and get my breakfast and coffee on the way there? And then I would come back and then I would find the closest like grocery market kind of thing. So I could just pick up stuff to have at the house
Yeah.
that if I got hungry, I didn't have to leave.
Maybe
And
before you do that, make sure that your accommodations have a microwave and or a kettle or a stove.
well,
Or,
and here's the kicker: does it work?
yeah, I tested out.
You know how many times we bought a frozen pizza for an oven that didn't work?
Oh
More than
man.
more than once. More
Yeah.
than once.
And then you're
But
like,
anyway,
all right, where's the TK Maxx or whatever? Got to figure out how to where and buy the stupid thing.
oh my goodness. But anyway, yeah. So that's the kind of stuff. And then from there, I would kind of, I remember you telling me about this gig that you just on the Traviata in Colorado. You're
Yeah.
used to coming out of the hotel and either turning right or left. Well, that kind of becomes your routine, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe if you just go the other direction after a week or so, you find all kinds of stuff. Look how cool this was. Just 2 blocks down the road, there's like this little square with the
Did
train
I
station or whatever.
did I actually tell you that? Because that's exactly what happened. We were so
You
used to
did.
going a certain. I was like, "You're reading my mind, dude."
You did.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't realize that, like, if you turn the opposite direction and walk like 3 or 4 blocks, that was where Union Station was,
Right. Right.
and there was this whole area down there of cool restaurants, and so
Yeah,
yeah, it
train
was kind of a
stations tend
nice
to be
thing.
kind of a hub,
Yeah,
of like
of
there's just a
course.
lot of fun stuff around there and cool stuff. I mean, certainly in Europe that is the case.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna say Amtrak in America doesn't
it
have
can get
as
a little
many
sketch.
options, but
Yeah, it can
no,
get a little sketch.
it was actually a very nice. I mean, the Union Station in Kansas City, here in Kansas City, is
Hmm.
beautiful. Tons of great little things inside, but the one in Denver was not as big, but
Yeah,
certainly nice and had a variety of different restaurants and things around it for sure.
I
So
love
yeah,
that, and I think being able to go out and eat in the restaurants in different countries is half of the whole experience of being there,
I
right?
was just going to say, do not
Yeah,
fall into the habit of just getting into your room and just kind of staying there like a little hobbit and then going to,
yeah.
the theater for rehearsal and coming right back. Like, get out, explore, figure out what's around you because, like you said, that's like half the deal.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know when it's cold, like it's becoming around this time of the year,
Yeah,
it's, you're less inclined, especially in Europe, there's a lot of outdoor dining as there is here, but over there it's just really like, especially I mean
everywhere.
you're on the street in Paris, even at the fanciest restaurants, you're sitting, 8 feet away from the cars. But the point is, and especially when the weather is nice in Italy and in France, and they just kind of, put out all these tables in the square, right? And it's like almost the whole restaurant is outside on this kind of terrace.
Mm,
It's so beautiful and it's so fun and the weather during most of the summer for a lot of Europe is really pleasant,
yeah, of
which is
course.
why they don't have air conditioning. And that's a whole nother thing we get into is that, what time of the year are you going to be in certain places and are things like, okay, washing machine's pretty standard, dryer, not so
Not so
much,
much in Europe.
not so much. So you have to kind of keep all those things in mind when you're packing. Is this something that will be okay to wear if I just hang it up or hang it over a thing, could
Right.
back of a chair to dry. But anyway, all kinds of things to just kind of to think about. And also when you're in a hotel, very often I remember when I was in Munich, I was staying in a hotel for about 2.5, 3 weeks, no laundry there. Or if they did, it was like $10 a shirt.
Oh wow.
So I had to find like a laundromat, and that was fine. I went and found a laundromat and it was great. But just these kind of logistical things that one doesn't think about always when you're thinking about the glamorous life of an opera singer. It's not glamorous every moment.
Exactly. It's like, well, you still have to do all the things that you have to do when you're just sitting around at home by yourself, so you
Right.
got to figure out how to do that on the road.
Right, right,
Um,
right, right.
you know, uh, can you think of off the top of your head any kind of like horror story travel situation that you were in and what caused it or how that happened or anything like that?
Oh gosh.
Hate to put you on the spot, but
No, not at all. I mean, I'm sure they're there. I'm sure they were forgotten for a reason.
yeah, right.
um, yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
there
usually
have
those
been,
things happen. It's out of our hands, right? It's because a
yeah, I mean,
flight
you've
gets
already paid
canceled
for
or
it,
something gets
that
late.
kind of stuff.
Right.
Or like you just look for the closest, cheapest thing. Like that usually I'm talking about for like auditions, right?
Yeah, right.
So because once you get the gig, the opera house usually will help you. They know the good apartments that they can kind of
Right.
steer you towards, that their singers are used to staying in. But when you go for an audition, you're kind of on your own. Your manager might be able to help you out, but again, like it just depends.
Well, this you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about auditions and you're
Hmm.
footing the bill on your own for this,
Right.
I think a important few websites to keep in mind. Google Flights is a great one.
Mm.
It lays everything out as a matrix and allows you to see like, oh, okay, if I go a day early, I could do this, 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 or if I go the day of, I can do this, and that's a
Hmm.
lot cheaper than having gone, a day before or whatever it might be.
Right.
Also, a website that I like is Skiplagged. sometimes you can find really interesting deals
Say
on
that again.
skiplagged.com.
Okay.
Skiplagged, yeah, it's cool. You can, so like, let's say you're flying from, I don't know, Indianapolis to
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City. Well, maybe a direct flight from Indianapolis to Kansas City costs $400, but a flight from Indianapolis to Denver that stops over in Kansas City is like $100 cheaper. Now, that wouldn't actually be true in this scenario
Right,
because
right,
there's
right,
no,
right.
but oftentimes when you're going from major cities to other cities,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be a cheaper way if you like I remember going like Houston to New York City would be, I don't know, $450, $500. But
Right.
for whatever reason, Houston to Boston, and for whatever reason, it would go Houston, New York City, Boston. There'd be like a layover at LaGuardia before it would go on to Boston.
Hmm.
And you just get off the plane in New York City. And they tell you can't like connect your frequent flyer miles to that ticket. But if you're saving money and if that's
Yeah, if
the
you're saving enough, it
priority,
makes sense.
and it's a legit website. I'm not talking about anything that's illegal here. I think
I love that.
I think
Right.
the airlines don't like it very much because you're kind of doing a little workaround.
Right.
But it's a cool thing, and you can look at everything and see if it makes sense for you. But
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
just trying to throw out some ideas of saving money for those audition trips that you've got to foot the bill for.
Right.
Same thing with Hotel Tonight. Sometimes when you are looking for a hotel, especially in New York City, they can be very expensive. Like
Oh
it's
my God. Yeah.
crazy how much they've gotten up to. And I will say more often than not, it's a little scary. So you might have to be, you got a plan B in your back pocket, but
Mm-hmm.
you land, and after 4 p.m., what Hotel Tonight does is, and they actually do it a different way too, but if you land and you look for a hotel the day of, if it's after 4 p.m., what they do is they scan all the hotel rooms that have not been booked at whatever hotel, and they discount the rates like significantly.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you can use the app, Hotel Tonight, and then, it's also one of those member benefit things to where like the more often you use it, you get upgraded levels and then you get more benefits. I remember
Yeah.
checking in one time in New York City and really, I mean, it was like 350, 450 a night, as opposed
Right.
to like 900 or 1400 or even more,
Right.
for just
Sure.
like a normal hotel
Yeah.
room. And I got there and they're like, "Oh yeah, here's a couple of meal tickets and here's a, free bottle of water and here's like these are all the things from Hotel Tonight app because I was like a loyalty member or whatever." I was
Right.
like, "Well, this is cool." So there
Awesome.
are little workarounds with different apps, and who knows? Maybe leave a comment in the thing below if you've got some other ideas or apps that you use. I mean, obviously there's Kayak. You can kind of look for
Right.
stuff on that. And
Expedia and all those normal
sure,
ones. But
sure,
yeah.
sure. But anyway, yeah,
Well, awesome. I think this has been super fun. I hope it's been
helpful.
informational and helpful for you guys.
Yeah,
But yeah, we've got a lot of things coming up. We're kind of we got some exciting guests where we're gonna kind of round out this first
half of season
act
2.
or so of season 2,
Yeah.
kind of getting up to the holidays here. But I hope you enjoyed this, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for joining us on Between the Notes. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And join us next week for more behind the scenes stories, laughs, and operatic gold coming your way.